So this S5 IIx and the blacked out color scheme, this new design, is what us kids like to call too legit to quit.
Alright, Finn, watch out.
Go around the ramp.
Now this video is not sponsored by LUMIX, but they did send me the S5 IIx. So thank you LUMIX for letting me get my hands on the S5 IIx just a little bit early. Now if you've seen an S5 II review, you've basically seen an S5 IIx review. However, there are some things that are different with the X. So really the purpose of this video is to show you how the S5 IIx is different from the S5 II. Then if you have the budget and you happen to be in the market to purchase one of these cameras, which one should you get? Now, if you want to learn more about LUMIX cameras like the S5 IIx or the S5 II, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now, the S5 IIx has the first all-black design for LUMIX. I don't know if they're going to be going with this design moving forward or not, but it sure looks great. One of the really cool details on this new design is the etched dial knobs. It's just one of those fine little details that you can appreciate. And the S5 IIx comes in at $2,199. The S5 II is $1,999. So why the price difference? Well, the S5 IIx is going to give you a lot more professional style video settings like all intra, ProRes recording, USB to SSD recording. You have the raw video data output, which you can get on the S5 II with a firmware update that you have to purchase coming up soon. Also on the X, you have some new wired and wireless streaming options. With all eye recording on the S5 IIx, you can record with bit rates up to Cinema 4K 800 megabits per second. That's definitely where the SSD recording comes in.
Hey, you should check out Caleb Hoover's YouTube channel because he has the best YouTube channel ever.
But the big thing on the S5 IIx is going to be B-RAW capability. So not only do you have ProRes RAW output through HDMI, you also have the Blackmagic RAW. And if you're into photography, the X version also will come with this live view composite, which if you're doing like star trails and things like that, it composites everything in camera so that you don't necessarily have to do that in post, which I've never done, but I think is really cool. But that'll also be in an update on the S5 II.
I'm all shook up, I'm wearing thin, I feel so far from my family and blacking out in some cheap hotel. I'm wondering if they'll even miss me, but I only ever think of dying when I'm staring at the ceiling, my back on the floor. I don't see any point no more. I don't see any point no more. I don't see any point no more.
So yes, with a separate purchase, you will be able to get external RAW recording through HDMI on the S5 II. But the S5 IIx comes that way, but will also have some very high bitrate shoot settings for video. So that leads to some of those things why I really like the X version of the S5 II, especially doing freelance client work. I really like the ability to have that SSD recording because that is a very affordable storage option when it comes to long shoots or some of those high bit rates. And even though the S5 II and the S5 IIx have built-in fans, it also kind of keeps the camera cooler in those situations as well. And so that kind of leads us to this question, if you are in the market for a new camera, the S5 II or the S5 IIx, which one should you go with? And in all reality, you can't go wrong with either one. What it comes down to is the type of shoot settings that you need. If you need some of those high bitrate shoot settings, especially if you're doing like TV type work, you definitely don't want any banding on some of those colors. So those high bit rates, all interest shooting, a lot of that's gonna allow you to have some great control over your image. So in some professional situations that you might find yourself in shooting video, having some of those codecs, some of those shoot settings is what you're gonna want. Also, if you are color grading or shooting any type of like feature work, feature film, short film type work, you're gonna want some of that raw recording. If you're used to shooting B-raw, I think this also opens the door to a lot of creators who like using the Blackmagic cameras, Pocket 4K, 6K, those types of cameras, because the ability to shoot B-raw on the S5 IIx makes that transition a lot easier, as well as several other cameras. But making the transition to a hybrid style camera like this, that'll make that a lot more appealing. The price is actually really good for the codecs and the shoot settings that you're getting on this X. So if you love color grading, you love shooting in any raw format, especially B-raw, this would be the way to go. If you're the person who wants to use their camera to make content for online, social media, even for clients who kind of just want some of that social media content, the S5 II is going to be more than enough. You might not need a lot of those fancy codecs and high bit rate shooting, and trust me, you will be totally happy with the S5 II. And you'll have the option, if you want, to upgrade to that ProRes RAW output on the S5 II anyway. Leave it up to Lumix for some of those upgrades. I remember the GH5 and Vlog L upgrade, little key that you got in the mail and had to put on an SD card and put on your camera. Anyway, you will have that option on the S5 II if you need that ProRes RAW output through HDMI. So ultimately, if you're in the market, which Lumix S5 II should you go with? Honestly, it depends on you and your shooting situation and the needs that you have. I don't know if the S5 IIx will become a Netflix approved style camera, but it definitely has those professional style shoot settings for high quality video. And it's just this little teeny thing that is absolutely so powerful. I'll definitely be having more videos come out about the S5 IIx, and probably a lot more coming out compared to the S5 II. So if you have any questions about the S5 IIx or the S5 II, please make sure you head down to the comment section and we can get a conversation started down there. Now in the near future, you may be getting one of these cameras, and if you want to know how to set up your camera for video, your S5 II or the S5 IIx for video, make sure you check out this video that's popping up on your screen right here. It'll have all of my video settings that I use, and you can just copy those, so it's really easy to set up. And again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments and we can get a conversation started.